Welcome back to Trade Up with TJ, talking all things health, wealth, business and lifestyle for tradies. Welcome on a ripper guest today, James from Alpha Tyres. How are you, brother?
Good, man. Good. Thanks for having me, bro. Appreciate it. Thanks for making the effort coming up. It worked in well.
Nah, thank you. Thanks for giving your time up as a busy man you are and jumping on. Really can't wait to dig into it today and talk a bit of shit and give back some information that you're ready to do, but elaborate a bit more on your story and that.
That's what it's all about, man. In the early days, it was just like you just latch onto whatever content you could, because you're in that sort of, what do I need to know next? What do I need to know next? And just I think it's super important for guys at any level of business to try and give back along the journey. You know what I mean? Because everybody's, at different stages of their journey, like chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 20. So if you're in a position to give back, I'm just super stoked to be here, man. So. Yeah,
love it. That's all right. Let's roll then back to nearly not even chapter 1, but probably chapter 5 for you, because you probably had a bit of an eventful upbringing through the school system and all that kind of stuff, and finally getting into the business and creating the lifestyle you wanted to. Roll us back to how it all started and how it all become.
Well, dude, I've always wanted to be successful, like most young blokes. It's got to be a millionaire by the time I'm 30. Had that sort of mindset. Didn't have a real clear why or purpose. It was just one of the perks of being successful. But country town. School wasn't for me. I just wanted a bit more out of life, hey? I didn't want to just go and get a job and be a plumber in the local town and play football and cricket, and that was it. I wanted some sort of adventure, and so I joined the Navy and when I was 17, and which was good, in the short term, learn a lot about systems and management and discipline and all that sort of stuff. But I pretty quickly got involved with the wrong crowd and, started getting into taking a bit of drugs and, just sort of knocking around with the wrong dudes. And I unfortunately got discharged, which was just a pretty eventful moment in my life. Going from sort of what I thought was going to be a successful path to just fucking it up completely. And so it was a rough few years for me, man. Bit of a dark spot. And so I started digging into, personal development and trying to regain control of me and my identity and sort of where I wanted to go and getting to that place that I wanted to get to. So I ended up sort of moving back home and living at my parents' apartment and working with my dad. And then again, sort of just still wasn't on track, and I just needed to get away, escape, and go and find myself again, man. So I know it sounds cliche, but I just needed to fucking regain control of my life and my mindset and all that sort of stuff. So I booked a one-way ticket, went overseas backpacking for a couple of years, and ended up in India. And I was in India for 6 months, man. And so I learned yoga and meditation and I wouldn't say I was dialed in, but just fell back in love with myself and just became okay with just sort of not being anyone of status or doing anything. It was just I was just happy in my own skin, and it didn't matter if I was a backpacker just cruising through life, on $15 a day in India, or if I was successful, I was just a happy dude. And I sort of regained that happiness. And I soon sort of realized when I was backpacking, I was just in this cycle of just doing shit jobs and then going and traveling for another window of time and then running out of money. And I was just I can't keep doing this, man. I've got to find a way to, build some sort of cash machine and to support the vision of just having that abundance of, I guess, that financial abundance and, being able to travel without a budget sort of thing. So yeah, dude, I come back in 2017 or something like that, 2016, and just back to my hometown and just worked for a fella here for a couple of years. And I was sort of set to take over his business, but we just couldn't come up with a bit of a deal. So I just decided to go all in, man, and just bootstrapped it and started Alpha Tyres back in 2019. So September 2019, I was just definitely underprepared, but I just had to fucking go for it, man. I just took action, as they keep saying, just take massive action in, the direction you want to go and fucking work it out, man. Work it out later. I think a lot of people just get caught up on trying to perfect their execution, and it's just you can't perfect it. You work it out in the trenches. And so that's what I did, man. Yeah, that's how it kicked off.
It's crazy. And even mentioning earlier there, the Navy, so that discipline obviously was instilled you probably inside you somewhere hiding that whole time
Dude,
along and even diving
It is,
down.
man. Yeah, I've got like little idiosyncrasies and shit that my wife picks up on, but like always had that, you know, because I wanted to, that was the goal. I wanted to get into like SF eventually, or, you know, that was like the pipeline. But, you know, because of sort of destructive vices and that sort of thing, I, you know, had to do a course correct. But so I've always had that sort of like militant sort of, you know, routines, and, you know, I like things tidy, and I like, you know what I mean? Like sort of semi, you know, high standards. And yeah, it's definitely reflected into the operation and everything that I do, because like, you know, I talk about it a lot on Instagram, like dialing in your habits and rituals so that you can become the operator that you need to be, so that you can, you know, build your dream.
Yeah. And even crazy, like mentioning as well, they're obviously Navy, and then going that bit off track into the probably party drugs and that kind of scene as well. What made you, when you got to that stage, realising like, fuck, I need to get out of here, like, and actually take action in my life?
Probably like a lot of young blokes, they're like thinking about it, you know, on the sesh, they're at the afters or whatever, and they're just like, fuck, what am I doing with my life, you know? And that's one part of it, but it sort of got worse for me, because I was like, I was taking heaps of anabolics, steroids as well, and I, moving from Queensland back down to Melbourne, I come off cold turkey, and so like my like natural like hormone production was just like shot to shit. You know, I was taking all the recreational drugs as well, and I started having like I had like a bad trip basically, and I was like in and out of psychosis for quite a while, like a few months, and I was pretty frazzled, and like I thought that like I was at the point of no return essentially, and that was like the pivotal time in my life where I was just like, fuck, like if I don't start fixing myself, like which way is it going to go? To be honest, at the time I was just considering like wrapping it up, you know what I mean? Like it was just, I thought that I was done. So pretty hectic couple of years, but I just sort of said to myself, like if I just start putting all the right things into my mind and my body, hopefully there's a course correction, you know what I mean? It's just like, if it's the same as like with your car, you know, if you don't service it regularly and you put shit oil in it, and, you know, you don't change the filters, like eventually it's going to let you down. And so it's the same with your mind and your body, you know. So like if we just like service it regularly, put the right things into it, and, you know, content, food, all that sort of stuff, and, you know, it has to course correct, it has to start moving in that right direction. So it took about 5 to 10 years, but we recovered, and things are going all right.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, it doesn't happen overnight, they say. Like,
nah, man, nah. You've got to just hang in there.
Yeah,
just
you've done well.
Hang in there, bro. Like, not just in the drug scene. Like, getting out of that, it's everything, business, relationships. Like, there's going to be turbulent times where you just want to like pull the pin, but it's just usually the wins happen like once you push past that. So just got to keep going, man. Keep hammering on.
Yeah, that's crazy. And then obviously look where you are now. It's just shown the discipline and instilled in you still, and to get you to where you are.
A little bit, man. Yeah, it's it just keeps getting like, you just keep getting better at refining the process. You know, like you're getting better. I talk about it quite a lot with discipline. It's really just about, because everybody falls off the horse, you know, and everybody, you know, has a shindig where, you know, because like right now I'm doing 75 hard, so I don't drink at all, you know, but everybody falls off the horse at some stage, and it's hard to get that momentum again. But I think the discipline is like just recognizing when you're falling off the horse and making sure that you get back on as quick as you fucking can, and just staying on the horse for a bit longer. And so that's always been my mindset. It's just like, okay, we've fallen off the horse, you know, whether you've missed your morning routine or you didn't get up at your alarm or whatever it is, it's just like, don't let it like just throw off the whole week. Just fix it tomorrow, and then just keep going. And so as you mature and your priorities change, and I guess more responsibility that you take on, you sort of get backed into a position where you have to be dialed in, and you have to have a bit of a regimented lifestyle, I think, to be able to pull it off. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And then building Alpha Tyres now, and that side, coming back to that side of the story, wanting that business to be successful, how, like you said, you bootstrapped it a little bit at the start and just sort of winged it and sort of went along with the process. What are things you did to get it up to where it was now?
I was just relentless, man. Like, probably the first thing, if I could give some value, if you're looking to start a business, everybody's doing the same shit. And so I think everybody should do like a bit of a competitor analysis, like have a look at the market that you want to get into, or whatever the trade is that you're doing, and don't waste your time worrying about all the shit that they're doing. Maybe have a look at like what maybe the competition isn't doing that you can double down on and become, you know, somebody different in the market. And so for us, I really recognised that commercial on-site 24/7 service just wasn't really done well in our area, and if at all. And so that was it. I was just like, I'll just double down on doing on-site truck and agricultural tyres, and I'll be 24/7. I'll answer every single fucking phone call, and I did, and I literally just like, even when I started, like obviously I didn't have work every single day or every single hour of every day, but like I was on the road from like 7:30 till 6 every night, and I'd just drive around. Anywhere I could see some machinery, like a tractor or a farmhouse, I'd just drive in, introduce myself, and just that old school cold call prospecting, you know. We're just so bombarded, I think, like with these medium machines, like what we're on right now. Sorry. And, you know, it's something different and refreshing, I think, for a young bloke that's keen, coming in, introducing himself, having the balls to face-to-face handshake, you know, this is what I'm doing. And I was literally just like, I'll do whatever it takes to get your business. And I did, you know, like, and I took on customers that went against my values, and like, I did shit jobs, and, you know, like I just bit off as much as I could possibly bite, and just like chew like fuck and just work it out, you know, and you know, now we're at a point now, we're only talking about this the other day, like we've got a really good business, and so now we can pick and choose a little bit, and we can make sure that the customers that we deal with now align with our values. And but at the start, there's going to be a season where you just take what you can just to, you know, get the sales, you know, get the thing fucking rolling, and then you just, you know, you work it out as you go and refine it and just make it better over time.
Yeah. And do you find that, like you mentioned, the medium machine and sort of that cold calling where you're going in face to face, and especially being the agriculture business, there are a lot of older people than yourself. Like, do you believe the younger generation now are nearly scared to do a cold call that way, face to face?
100%, man. They wouldn't even they'd be like, what do you mean? Like this is what I try and educate my clients on. Just like, they could be doing it, I don't know, but like, everyone wants to take the easy route because it's very easy just to, you know, boost a fucking reel on Instagram, and, you know, however many thousands of people are going to see it. But like, it's a different sort of story going in and meeting, you know, a boomer, and because they don't see that anymore. And I think recognize real, and like, being at this stage of my business, like if I see somebody like have the minerals to like come down to my workplace, introduce themselves, and, you know, pitch their services, I'm just like, this guy's got balls. I like it. Fucking oath. You know, I remember the guys that opened up the gym here that I go to now, both of them, the husband and wife, they came down and they just like introduced themselves and, you know, shook my hand, told them they were opening up a gym, and I was just like, boom, fucking straight away, signed up. I had 2 memberships going, you know, because I was just like, I was with these guys over here and I just wanted to support them because I just appreciated that. Yeah. And, you know, even a young bloke that come to work for us, he was 14 and 9 months when he come in, and his mum dropped him off. He walked into the shop and he just asked if he could have a job, if we had any work going. And I was just like, we don't need any more staff, but I'm hiring this guy because I just fucking love it. Like, how many kids do you see these days that go and do that? Yeah. You know, they're getting their parents to post shit on Facebook. Oh, my son's looking for a job, as opposed to getting your kid to actually go in there and introduce himself. And I just think it's powerful, you know, and it's relatable. And I think people like that.
Yeah, that's cool to actually realise that face-to-face is still personal and people appreciate it so much.
Yeah, especially in our game, man. Like, you know, and I think a lot of stuff on social media is really sort of tech-focused and all that sort of stuff. You know, drop shipping and fucking affiliates and all that sort of stuff. But, like, there's not a lot of good content that's talking about how to really successfully drive a local business. And I think, yeah, locally owned and operated trade service-based businesses, it's like, you've got to do the cold call hard stuff. You know, you've got to go do the door knocking, 100%.
Yeah. And then you say that as well. Do you reckon that's something that's instilled, like, or created you to get to your first million?
100%. Yeah, dude. Like, just relentless, having that point of difference. because it was like a no-brainer for people to convert over to what we were doing because it's just like they need that service. And, because I answered the phone every single, like I didn't miss a phone call, especially in probably the first couple of years, I wouldn't have missed a phone call. No way. Like, you know what I mean? And 2:00 in the morning, like I drove from, there was one night I drove from Echuca to Wallen. And so for anybody that's listening, that's like fucking nearly 3 hours. And it was like 2:00 in the morning. And I drove down there and fixed a puncture and, I was just like, I was prepared to do anything. And, yeah, man, it's just like, that's what you got to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then building up and then getting to that. And it's obviously, as you said, the success looks different for everyone these days. Like they want the money, they want the fame, that kind of stuff. But actually wanting to get through to that is not like no one actions it. They talk about it. But so when you said like you want that success, what's the success in your eyes look like compared to how everyone else frames it?
Well, success is like essentially my vision, and so my vision is to build a business that will give me, financial independence and an abundance of time. So like, I just want to be able to do whatever I want when I want with who I want, and trust me, I want to buy a fucking Lamborghini. I want to have a nice fucking house, and I want to be healthy. I want to spend time with my, newly born daughter, and I want to travel. And so whatever that looks like, it's there's not a dollar sign there. Like people talk, I want this much money, or it's not really about that. It's really just about like having the power of choice. It doesn't matter what sort of how much that is, but just having the power of choice, and just keep going until I get that. And to be honest, like there's been seasons over the 4 years where like fucking we don't make much money at all, or we'll go into the negative 1 month, because of whatever circumstances. But I just love that. I just love building shit, man. You know what I mean? Like, I honestly just love fucking like, fuck, let's try this, bro. And then we just like give it a crack and it works out. And you're like, fuck yeah, we did that. Or it doesn't work out and you go, right, what could we do different? Sweet. And then you become a better operator. I just love that. I'd almost do it. I wouldn't do it for free, but like I'd almost do it for free, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, I love it. Yeah.
And then you say that when you go into the negatives and that kind of thing, do you reckon that's what most people don't see the side of the business as well? Like everyone highlight reel on Instagram and then
100%. And we try and talk about it quite a lot. My wife and I just started our podcast, and we try and just be as raw and authentic as possible about the problems that we have, because we're not immune. Just because we've built a big business doesn't mean we're not immune to fucking everything that everybody else is going through, like staff issues, tax issues, fucking bad debtors. Like there's so many like spot fires and dramas that we've had over the last 4 years. Like honestly, I think most people would give up, and I think that's the only difference between like powerhouses and like people that you see that have got huge businesses and like people that don't, is they've just gone through more of the shit and just been okay with still rocking up. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of people that would just come across some of the obstacles that we've had and would just go, oh fuck, this is too hard. Fuck this. You know what I mean? Like when we opened up our second store, we were just talking about it earlier, and we had some dramas. They were pinching from us. We lost like in the tens of thousands of dollars. We didn't realize for a couple of months. And then, long story short, I got a phone call on a Monday at like 2:00 in the afternoon, and the whole team had walked out. And that shop was like an hour away from where we lived, and I had to run that store for a month by myself. And it was just like, it's not easy. It's, and, anybody that's doing it really easy, come and fucking tell me how you're doing it. But it's just, and you become a better operator, 100%. But higher levels, darker devils, you just come into new problems that you wouldn't have imagined, 12 months prior or a couple of years prior, depending on what level of business you're at. But it's just all about growing,
Yeah.
And I'm going to say the same thing about the problems that we're facing now. In 12 months' time, I'm going to be like, fuck, I should have seen that coming, but now I will.
Yeah, and it's learning from the mistakes and not fail, like not quitting when there is a failure as well.
100%, man. Like we tried to start, like we went to like from zero, so like the back of my ute sort of thing, with a storage shed, to bricks and mortar retail operation, to 2 locations, to 3 locations. Tried to start two or three other businesses in between that to like vertically integrate different components like freight. We started doing a bit of like machinery hire, and they just didn't really work out. And some people would call it a failure, but I just called it an experiment to become a better operator. And it cost me money, and it cost me time and fucking emotional stress sometimes. But like the things that I've learnt and the reasons why they didn't work, it's just like you're just constantly refining the process to become a better operator, so that you just get more return on your investment, if that makes sense. And that's not just like a financial investment. Like, I know if I apply this much pressure over here, I'm going to get X return. Just getting better at that.
Yeah. And then you mentioned there becoming a dad and stepping into fatherhood and managing your relationships as well. Obviously your missus is in the business as well.
Yeah.
Like, how have you managed that whole situation for people listening as well? Like, that is such a hard thing when your wife or your partner's with you in the business. Like,
look, and it's probably not for everybody. Yeah. And like any partnership, whether it's your wife or a friend, you've got to make sure that your skill sets complement each other's. I wouldn't go into partnership with two people with the same skill set. So I'm very much like sort of vision, strategy, ideas, and action, and can actually do the work. Whereas my wife's a bit more like sort of systems, back ends, HR, and we sort of joke about it. She just picks up all the fucking pieces and makes sure that we just keep going forward, sort of thing. So we're very fortunate. We've got a good relationship like that. We've got a very open, we communicate very well, which is a big one. You've got to just constantly communicate. Like, there's no fugazi with our relationship. It's like, if there's a problem, it gets brought up there and then, and it's just, that's it. And we might have a bit of a screaming match at that time, and then it's just like, wake up the next day, sweet, let's crack on. So very blessed, man. And like with having the baby, dude, we tried to prepare as best as we could to nurture her out of the business. Employed an admin dude, and then we had just like massive turbulence. Like, only weeks before we had the baby, we like lost two of our fitters. We ended up getting rid of our admin guy because he was just doing a shit job. And like, so it's just the ebbs and flows, man. It's just like, you're going to have seasons where everything's going grouse, everything's fucking, couldn't be better. You've got plenty of like time and there's no stress. It's just all flowing and going awesome. And usually it's at the time when you don't really need it to be going like that. And then when you really need it to be going like that, it's just like, it just fucks up completely because you're putting too much pressure on it. But yeah, dude, we're not, like I said, we're not immune to like all the fucking ups and downs of small business. But having somebody in your corner like your wife or, a really good business partner, I think that's probably the difference between where we could have been and where we are now. Like, I think, because I think I did the first year on my own, and then she was working in a government job, and pretty much my whole back end was up to shit. And I was just like, can you come and help me? Everything's fucked. And so she quit her job and came on full time, which was a massive risk. And not just a risk, but like, trying to tell, she was only my girlfriend technically at the time. She'd moved up from Melbourne 3 hours to come live with me. And for me just to say, like, quit your career and come work in a tyre joint, it's massive, dude. Like, because she's like super driven, like she's a DJ, she super driven career woman. And so it did take a bit of time to get on the same path and start rowing the boat in the same direction. But once we did start rowing in the same direction, it's just like, we're just unstoppable, man. It's cool. Yeah.
And that's crazy. And how do you reckon, like, for those listening that say you can never find the right partner, this, that, like, even if it's not in business, just in life in general, like, actually finding that girl and not just fucking around and being with someone for 5 years to waste the time and then they're not even the right person, and like...
Yeah, so, I fucked around with a fair few chicks, like, in the early days, like most young blokes should. And, I think I was in a relationship in my early 20s, around about like when I got kicked out of the Navy. Yeah, actually when I got kicked out of the Navy. And that ended up finishing up after, I think, a year or two. And I just sort of said to myself, I'm like, just not settling for anything less than what I think the right thing is, you know. And so I think I didn't bother with a relationship for like 4 or 5 years until I met Jemima, and we ended up meeting at a festival together. We had mutual friends. My best mate was going out with her roommate, and we caught up, and obviously we were just having a good time at the festival, and I had this like fucking massive plan that I wanted to execute, and she was like, fuck yeah, it sounds like this guy knows what he's talking about. and I didn't really, but she believed it at the time, and so then we just cracked on, man. But dude, you just got to go and become you first, you know, like go and experience life first, go traveling, go and, you know, start a business, fuck it up, you know. Just do you, because you got plenty of time, and like we've done what we've done in just 4 years, you know. So like I started the business when I was like 27 or something like that, and it's like it's pretty late, you know. And I think there's a lot of young blokes that like feel that pressure like I did, and it's just like I need to become a millionaire by the time I'm 30, and it's just like you don't have the emotional intelligence or the, you know, the integrity, the wisdom and the skill set and everything. Like that all just takes time. So don't put pressure on the timeline thing. Just like don't settle for anything less than the best that you can in the relationship. You know what I mean? Like if you don't know how to communicate with each other, or you've got to like strategically, you know, figure out how to talk to your partner, then there's problems. You know, don't settle for that. Because the right person's out there.
Yeah. There's plenty of fish in the sea.
Plenty of fish in the sea, bro. Yeah.
And then coming into fatherhood as well, and like as you said, when the business you wanted it to go all smoothly, it didn't. Like, and being in that's probably a new situation again for you to test you just once again, as it likes to do.
Yeah.
How'd you then what habits or like even just things do you go back to your roots to actually really recenter yourself, and like the stuff you've learned through meditation? Like what's something you swear by like daily to?
Yeah, so I've got like a pretty hectic morning routine, and I've had a pretty similar morning routine for like pretty much the same thing for like nearly a couple of years now. And I know how Mosey goes on about, you know, not needing a morning routine. It's just like, that's cool for you, brother, but I fucking need it. All right. I need to sort my shit out in the morning. So I'm really big on that. So like early rise, 5 or 6, as soon as the baby usually wakes up between sort of 5 and 6 o'clock. In the morning, and then usually just like try and read, like absorb some sort of content when you know the mind's fresh. Coffee and cordyceps mushrooms, ghee, fasted, and then I'll try and do some sort of blood flow. So you know, whether that's like the assault bike, go for like a 2K run, or a walk with the bub or whatever, just to get that blood flow. So I don't want to like fatigue myself or anything like that. It's because it's more about like just priming my body. So I get in that sort of flow state, you know, get a bit of sweat going, and then I've got an ice bath at home, jump in the ice bath, and then I usually do like Wim Hof breathing, 3 rounds of that post ice bath, and then I have a scorching hot shower, and then a cold shower, and then that's my fucking morning routine, bro. I do that every single fucking day, and it's like, and like I can go a day without it, but it's just like I know that I can bring the best version of myself if I just like do this fucking one thing every morning, or multiple things, like this sequence of, you know, habits. You know, because when you've got an operation, you've got team members and you've got family, and you know, you got to front up and you got to bring the energy, because like a lot of people are going to suck the life out of you every single fucking day when you're an operator, when you've got team, and I call them energy vampires. And so if I don't bring an abundance of energy to give to all of them, then you know, they're going to fade away. I'm going to fade away. So you need to be sharp. You need to bring the best you to the table every day. Yeah. It's
crazy that everyone falls off the bandwagon, as you said. You relate it back, but get back on the horse when you know you're falling off.
Yeah, 100%.
You've noticed as well. If you do fall off that, like, that's what you need.
Yeah. But you do get into a point where, like where we are at the moment, like you do feel like a massive sense of responsibility that like almost pushes past like the discipline side of things. You know what I mean? It's like you're not just doing it for you, and so like you sort of have to do it. Yeah. It's like this enormous pressure that I can't really describe to you unless you're sort of like in it, and like, you know, if you're in one of those positions, you know what I'm talking about. But I know that if I don't front up and like have that mental clarity every day, like it's shit can go sour pretty quick, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy to really think like you can see and understand that you need to show up the best version of you for your employees to work the best for you.
Yeah, yeah. And because like you just like the stress that you take on a daily basis, like you know, if I was just to get a random person and just put them into my shoes for a day, like, you know, they would have a fucking mental breakdown, you know, and I probably would have too, like a couple of years ago. But it's just like you're just compounding your resilience to high stress situations, which is just like an evolutionary thing through your experience, but it's also to do with your habits and rituals.
Yeah. And having that stress on your shoulders as well, and like something you probably frame it it's all in your own mind 90% of the time, is it? Do you believe you put that pressure on yourself?
For sure, man. Yeah. Bits and pieces. Some things are just out of your control, and that's part of the comprehension, is to know that things are out of your control and nothing's permanent. You just have to keep fucking cracking on. Yeah, man. It's just it's tough, but yeah, it's just part of the journey, bro. Yeah.
And endure the process as well.
Yeah, man.
Get through it. We'll nearly wrap up in a minute. Is there anything you want to deep dive into? Obviously, you've had a bit of a hectic day as well, diving into everything, but really give back and explain something that you've got a lot of learnings from as well.
Trying to think what I could really just quickly
blow the socks off someone.
No, not blow the socks. I just want to give as much value as I can when I do these sort of podcasts and that. Like, just keep going, man. Like, if you're listening and you're not too sure, or you're either in the early stages of business, or you know, you're way down the line and you sort of like think that everything's fucked. Like I said before, nothing's permanent. Like, everything works out, and you know, you're going to get out the other side of whatever it is that you're going through. You've just got to keep showing up, and like showing up and doing work and planning. You know, I think maybe I'll revert to that. Yeah. So like a big important step that we've taken sort of last year was like just being a bit more strategic, and sometimes it might just be like blocking out 1 or 2 days on a weekend, and you know, you and your partner, or if it's just you in the business, just like brain dumping everything onto like a whiteboard session, just like I call it the decision making funnel. So like we write our vision, mission and values, and then we put up all of our bottlenecks onto like one side of the whiteboard. Like, what are the bottlenecks right now in our business? And then we go like, right, how do we make a decision around this? And then we basically go through our vision, mission and values. Does this align with our values? Is this going to be, you know, what we're doing here does this align with the mission? And we just basically just take action accordingly after, like from that, like just go, right, this doesn't align with our values, fuck it off. Or this team member doesn't align with our values, he's got to go. Or, you know, this part of the business, it doesn't align with our vision, which is like, you know, or values. You know, one of our values is time with family, and it's just like, this doesn't align, we've got to fuck it off. And it's just so for us, getting that clarity around like, you know, why you're in business, and just always trying to come back to that. You know, I think when we get in the hustle and bustle and we're chasing that sort of revenue, we can get distracted very quickly, and you know, we can lose sight of why we got into business in the first place, and all of a sudden you've just got this fucking absolute chaos, fucking whirlwind of a disaster that you've created, and it's very hard to course correct sometimes. So plan, get clear on your vision, mission and values, and just keep at it, man. Fucking just keep slogging away.
Yeah, that's crazy. And as you say, whiteboards are key.
They're
one of the best things you can do.
Yeah,
get it
man.
all actually visually out in front of you as well.
Just write it down. Like, get it out of your mind. Like, sometimes you just got so many like cycles of like thoughts and processes and trying to work things out in your head. It's just like, dude, just get it down on paper or whiteboard, and just decompress, you know, for sure.
Oh, beautiful. And that's a wrap. We'll wrap it up there, and then thank you again
Sweet,
for
man.
coming on. Really appreciate it.
No worries at all, man.
And can't wait to share it.
Yeah. Cheers, man.
Thank you.